Once upon a time, in the heart of an ancient land, there lived a poor man named Ogeneuwa. His ancestors were once wealthy, but long ago, a great offense had been committed against the gods, bringing a terrible curse upon his lineage. It was said that no male descendant of the family would ever prosper, and so, generation after generation, they remained trapped in poverty. Ogeneuwa had a kind and devoted wife, Oluki, who was heavily pregnant. Despite their struggles, they found joy in the little things. Their hut was small, and their land barren, but their love remained strong. One day, Oluki went deep into the forest to fetch firewood. As she was gathering sticks, she heard a strange hissing sound. Turning towards the sound, she saw a massive python writhing in distress. Its body was tightly entangled in the ropes of a ropy leguminous plant, its golden scales glistening under the sun. Oluki gasped in fear, her heart pounding like the talking drums of the village. Pythons were sacred in their land, believed to be messengers of the gods. But this one was suffering. Despite her fear, she reached for her small machete and, with trembling hands, began to cut the vines binding the creature. The moment the last strand was severed, the python slithered back, and to Oluki's astonishment, it began to transform. A radiant light surrounded it, and within seconds, the massive snake had become a breathtaking goddess. She was adorned in shimmering golden robes, her long braided hair decorated with cowries, and her face radiant like the morning sun. Oluki fell to her knees, overwhelmed by awe and disbelief. "Rise, Oluki," the goddess said, her voice as melodious as the wind through the palm trees. "You have freed me from an enchantment that bound me for a century. For your kindness, I shall bless you and the child in your womb." Tears streamed down Oluki's face as she whispered, "Great goddess, I am unworthy." The goddess smiled. "Your child shall break the curse of your ancestors. She shall bring wealth and fortune to your family, but the blessing will only be fulfilled when she marries. She is destined for greatness, but she must be patient, for the path of fate is never straight." The goddess stretched out her hands, and golden dust fell upon Oluki's belly. "Her name shall be AKUABATA, wealth has come." With that, the goddess vanished into thin air, leaving behind only the echo of her divine presence. Months later, Oluki gave birth to a daughter, and true to the goddess's words, she was the most beautiful child the village had ever seen. Her skin was as fair as moonlight, her eyes as bright as the morning sun, and her hair long and curly like the river's waves. From a young age, AKUABATA radiated a rare charm. She was intelligent, kind, and graceful. People marveled at her beauty and wisdom, but none knew of the great destiny that awaited her. In the village, there lived a powerful seer named Igbala, who had visions of the future. One night, as he sat in his shrine surrounded by ancient idols and figurines carved from sacred wood, the spirits whispered to him about AKUABATA's destiny. The next morning, he rushed to Ogenuwa's hut, carrying a staff wrapped in red and white cloth. "Your daughter is blessed beyond measure," he declared. "She must marry my son, Obinna, for only then will the wealth that the goddess promised be unlocked." Seeing the old man's sincerity, Ogenuwa and Oluki agreed, and the children were betrothed. As AKUABATA grew, Obinna cherished her. He protected her, helped her fetch water, and ensured she lacked nothing within his means. "AKUABATA, you are my greatest treasure," he often said. "One day, we shall rule our own kingdom together." But AKUABATA did not understand why her mother always told her, "When you marry, money will never be a problem." Years passed, and one day, a girl from the city arrived in the village. She was adorned with foreign jewelry, dressed in expensive fabrics, and spoke of grand places where houses touched the sky and golden chariots moved without horses. Obinna, curious about the city's wonders, found himself drawn to her. The girl, noticing his admiration, began whispering sweet words into his ears. "You are too handsome for village life," she told him. "Come with me to the city. Leave behind this simple life, and I shall show you riches beyond your dreams. Blinded by her charm and the promise of a wealthy life in the city, Obinna made a fateful decision. He broke his engagement with AKUABATA and left for the city with the girl. AKUABATA was devastated, her heart shattered like a broken calabash. But her mother held her close and whispered, "My daughter, you are a great treasure. Your future will be greater than his." Time passed, and AKUABATA blossomed into a woman of extraordinary beauty and wisdom. Many suitors came from far and wide, but one day, a wealthy merchant from a neighboring kingdom saw her and was captivated. He approached her family and asked for her hand in marriage. But one of the villagers told the man that AKUABATA's family was cursed, that if he married her, he would become poor. On hearing this, the man never comes again. AKUABATA wept, but her mother told her to accept Ijel's proposal and be his wife. AKUABATA frowned. "Mama, you want your only daughter to marry a poor man and suffer for the rest of her life. You will not suffer," she said. "You are a promised child and a great treasure. Money or anything money can buy will never be a problem when you marry." AKUABATA was very curious to know. "Mama, what do you mean?" "Don't worry, my daughter, you will understand when you marry," her mother said. "Ijel loves you so much." AKUABATA refused Ijel's proposal because he was poor. She didn't see how a man who couldn't provide for her could be a good husband. But little did she know that fate had other plans. One night, AKUABATA had a dream that would change everything. In the dream, she was getting married to Ijel, and there was a heavy rain falling with great thunder and lightning. But as the rain poured down, something miraculous happened. Her father's barren lands became fertile, and all the trees in their compound bore many fruits. And suddenly, their old small hut was transformed into a mansion. Ijel, her husband, was dressed in a king's robe, and he looked more handsome than ever. A mysterious and radiant woman glowing like the sun emerged from the storm. She was no ordinary being but a goddess, and her voice was both gentle and commanding. "AKUABATA, your fate is tied to Ijel," the goddess spoke. "He carries a destiny beyond what mortal eyes can see. Because you have been chosen, I shall bestow upon you a divine gift. Your voice will heal broken hearts, and your hands will craft wonders. You will be known far and wide, and through you, your family will rise." AKUABATA woke up from the dream feeling confused and amazed. She didn't understand the meaning of the dream, but she couldn't shake off the feeling that it was a sign of something great to come. As she went about her daily activities, she couldn't help but think about the dream. And then, she remembered her mother's words, that when she got married, money would never be a problem. AKUABATA began to realize that her mother's words were true. She started to see Ijel in a new light, and she began to understand that wealth wasn't just about material things. On the day of the traditional marriage, there was indeed a heavy rain with thunder and lightning, just like in her dream. But this time, it was real. As AKUABATA and Ijel exchanged their vows, the rain poured down, and the thunder boomed. But instead of being a bad omen, it was a sign of good fortune. After their marriage, there was a great turnaround for AKUABATA and her family. Her father's lands became fertile, and their trees bore many fruits. Their small hut was transformed into a mansion, just like in her dream. But what was most surprising was the spiritual gifts that AKUABATA received from the goddess who had appeared to her. The goddess had bestowed upon her great talents and abilities that made her a renowned figure nationwide. Meanwhile, Ijel, once mocked for his poverty, proved himself to be a wise and just man. With his wisdom, he was chosen by the people to lead, and in time, he became a great king. The vision AKUABATA saw had come to pass. Her husband wore the royal robes, and their family flourished. Moral lessons. Stigmatizing the poor is like mocking a seed for not being a tree, she often said. Given time, rain, and care, it will grow into something mighty. The gods bless those who show kindness. The end. Thanks for watching. Please like to enable this video to spread to a greater number of people. Please remember to subscribe if you have not done so by now. God bless you abundantly. Bye bye.